Hello, 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 my amigos. Welcome one, welcome all. It's time for another exciting edition of, you guessed it, the show with no name on Vaughn Radio. And folks, hold on to your hats because it's time for liftoff.
T-minus 10.
Countdown
9,
with me.
8,
7,
6,
5. Come on, you can keep
4,
up.
3,
2,
1.
let's go.
0. Ignition. Liftoff. Liftoff.
Here we go. Oh man, those G-forces. Esas fuerzas G.
Get ready. Hold on to your hat. Strap on your seatbelt. Fasten your seatbelts. Hold on to your hat. Get ready for the ride of your life. The show with no name time on Vaughn Radio. It's a show with no name. It's the show. Let's go.
That's right. That's right, amigos. All aboard. All aboard. It's time for, you guessed it, the show with no name on Vaughn Radio. Another edition. I hope you guys enjoyed your day off yesterday. Well, some of you had the day off. I know I had the day off. And what did I do? Well, I ended up working. Hey, well, that's what happens. There's always something to do. Always something going on. I hope you guys are enjoying this irregular week. Yes, that's right. Irregular. We say irregular. And I know you know that word. It means you don't go to the bathroom very often, right? But also irregular verbs. What are irregular verbs? I'm going to quote my friend Jermaine, my best friend Jermaine. And I asked him one time, it was on the radio show. It was here on the show with no name. And I said, Jermaine, I said, what are irregular verbs? And Jermaine very brilliantly answered, well, verbs that are not regular, obviously. And I was like, brilliant, but could you, just expand on that just a little bit, just a bit, And in the end, it made total sense to me, obviously. But what are regular verbs? Regular verbs end in ed. Irregular verbs don't follow that pattern. So examples: write, wrote, written; drive, drove, driven; take, took, taken. Right? These are irregular verbs because they don't end in ed as regular verbs do. Now, let's put them each into their own category. We'll split them up over here. Dividirlos. And regular verbs are harder to pronounce. What I've noticed. Okay, in general, on the whole is in general. Y no es whole agujero, es entero. On the whole, they're harder to pronounce. So, reached, right? Walked, talked. It's really about nuances, right? And there, you know what? We can break it down to three sounds. You've got walked, you've got agreed, unas de, otras de, and then you've got wanted. Now, of course, it's your job now to come up with those, but you got to practice really saying those sounds because it's not the same to say, I walk there, than I walked there. And that little clicking sound is so important. So regular verbs are easy because, bueno, como se conjuga pon un ed. We just said it's pretty simple, right? But irregular verbs are a lot easier to pronounce. There are some mistakes I always hear, like with people say chosen when it's chosen, right? They say driven when it's driven. So some pronunciation mistakes. But again, we're speaking on the whole. We are generalizing. But I love Jermaine's answer. He said, well, they're the opposite of regular verbs or irregular verbs. I said, okay, good. But let's go a little bit deeper. And just remember, too, a good way to practice these, because you could do what I just did. And you could just say all three of them, take, took, taken. No, yeah, take, took, tenía que pensar, digo, de hecho bien, right? Or you could like throw them into the air and just juggle them, which makes no sense. Because, okay, take, took, taken. Muy bien. Come, came, come. Very good. Forget, forgot, forgotten. Excellent. Wonderful. Now what? So always put them into context. That's something that we always do here on the show. I'm always telling you, put things into context. And what we do with the Vaughn method, it's a real simple way to practice these. Look, let's go find some irregular verbs. Do this right now with me. Go over irregular verbs list. Look, I got a million of them right here. Here we go. Irregular verbs list. The quality of this one's not too good. Okay, let's just go through them. Okay, we're going to go right down the list. Every day I begin the show at 10:30 a.m. Yesterday. Entonces, ponemos tres columnas. Every day, que son dos palabras. Every espacio day. Si lo juntamos es cotidiano. This is just an everyday pen. Entonces, este caso, every day, every summer, algo habitual que es el presente. Then you got your past tense, yesterday. And then you got your perfect tense, your present perfect, which is something that the time period is still open. Okay, so I've eaten pizza a lot in my life. I'm not talking about one specific time where I ate pizza. Okay, that's just to distinguish between them. So the best way to practice these in their natural habitat is every day I go to the bank. Yesterday I went to the bank. Lately I've gone to the bank. And remember, the v is the I have when we contract it. When it's third person, lately she's gone. She has gone to the bank. All right, so what was the first one? Do them with me, do them aloud. Esto es muy importante en voz alta para ver si lo estás pronunciando bien. So every day I begin the class at 10:30 sharp. Cada día empiezo la clase a las 10:30 en punto. Yesterday, you began the class at 10:30 sharp. Well, not really. Yesterday was a holiday. Lately, you've begun the class at 10:30 sharp, or 10:30 on the dot is another way to say it, porque a veces hay puntos. Think about it that way. On the dot. Let's go with another one. Every day, I bite my tongue. Now, this can be literally, o también bite your tongue, muerde la lengua. In English, the same as in Spanish. Every day, I bite my tongue. Si no lo dices con el tiempo, ahora cuando lo dices con el tiempo, you're like, ¿por qué estoy diciendo yesterday con este verbo? Pues ya asocias que es pasado. I think it's a great way to practice it. So every day, I bite my tongue. Yesterday, you guys, and you can write them in the group right now. I see some people are writing them. That's great. But the important thing is to say them as well, right? Whenever possible. Yesterday, I bit my tongue. And lately, I've bitten my tongue. All right, one that could be confusing with this. Beat, beaten, vencer. So this one's different. So vamos a verlos. Bite, bit, bitten. Esto es morder. Every day I bite my tongue. Yesterday I bit my tongue. Lately I've bitten my tongue. Every summer they beat their opponents. Last summer they beat their opponents. And lately they've beaten their opponents. Okay, let's go with the next one. Blow. Okay, every day, every birthday. No tiene que ser cada día. Experimenta, play. Make them real too. Personalize them, as I always say. Every birthday, I blow out the candles. What did you do at your last birthday party? You blew out the candles. Were the candles blue? It's a good way to remember them. I blew out the blue candle. And lately, ¿has soplado velas últimamente? Puedes decirlo en negativo. I haven't blown out any candles lately. O puedes usar blow up, explotar, right? So the idea, this is the good news too. Blow, por ejemplo. You're blowing it out of proportion. Can you blow up the photo? Ampliar a little bit. Please blow up the soccer ball. Infla el balón. So just by knowing the word blow, soplar, tienes como 8 diferentes usos. That's the good news about phrasal verbs. So if you know get, you know how to conjugate a million different structures in English. And that is how you learn English. And this is stuff I can do with you in class here, but this is stuff you have to make sure you're doing on your own, and you have to make sure that you are doing it aloud, en voz alta. All right, so let's kick off with a little challenge that we call our pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Yeah. Let's go. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. All right, amigos. All right, it is time for our pop quiz. Remember, you can participate here live in our live stream every day. Also, you can also, and I recommend, even if you're participating digitally, I recommend you have a notebook on hand, because if you write something here in the group, you might forget it later at your house. So I think it's a great idea. Also, remember, writing with a pen is becoming a lost art. Please, let's not make that happen. And let's start off too. I haven't given you guys any encouragement, ningún aliento todavía. So keep up the great work. That's from an applause I might have missed in the past. I owe you. Os debo varios aplausos. I owe you. Do you know this? Un pagaré, an IOU, right? IOU es igual que yo te debo. I-O-W. Owe you. No lo confundamos con own, que es poseer. I've had a lot of students say, one student said, I own you. And I'm like, nobody owns me, buddy. Okay? Te poseo. He quería decir te debo. Una cerveza, te debo. And I said, no, be careful over there. All right. And speaking of owing somebody a beer, in fact, I think we can crack a beer, right? Isn't today Friday? Or am I losing my head over here? Or let's do it, man. Grab a brewski, grab a cold one, and let's go have a bite to eat. We just looked at the word bite. Let's have a bite to eat. Vamos a comer algo, a picotear algo. Tiene la connotación de no demasiado, no pasarnos. So, Vaughn, this is a post that came from our amigos at Vaughn, and I'm going to share it in the group right now. Let me see. And this post, basically, it's all about ordering in a restaurant. This is one of these posts that you want to bookmark, because who hasn't had problems ordering in a restaurant or been, ¿cómo se dice alergia tal? O ¿cómo se dice lo otro? Y celíaco. And I mean, who knows? Maybe you have special needs, right? Or just perhaps you just want to get what you ordered cooked the way you wanted it cooked. So believe it or not, ordering in a restaurant, okay, it's not like, a doctor, an operator, you got to make sure you get the right terminology. But if you don't order right, you might not get the food you wanted, and nobody likes that. I know I'm a huge crybaby when it comes to that. Yeah, yo soy un llorón. I'm like, they put mayonnaise on it. They put mayo. Mayo, eso es la frase que yo repito más. Hold the mayo. All right, kids, stop crying. Hold the mayo. To hold the mayo means no le pongas mayonesa. Hold the mayo. Sin la mayonesa. Right? And I've said that a million times in my life, but it seems like everybody has an obsession with just spreading mayonnaise and plopping mayonnaise on everything. And I can't take it. So empezamos con la primera parte. Hold the lo que sea. Let's look at some vocabulary, and then I'll give you the challenges. You can follow along. Remember, I highly recommend you follow Vaughn, you follow me, you follow all of us here at Vaughn Radio, because you're going to get all this amazing content. Like this could be easily a half-hour class. We're not going to make it a half-hour class, but let's take a look at some different things. Huevos, an easy one. Eggs. Nueces o frutos secos is, I think, the word you would say. Because we don't say dried fruit. Dried fruit son these figs, pasas, higos, these dried things. Those are dried fruit. So be careful. Not the same thing in English. We say nuts, que también significa que estás loco. Are you nuts? I can't eat nuts. Te iba a decir tengo alergia, pero ahí vamos. I can't eat nuts. What are you, nuts? Oh, and by the way, eggs no son huevos en español. Sí, en la sartén, when you fry an egg, yes. But if you say to an American person, did you hurt your eggs? They're not going to get it. Yeah, we call them nuts. Yeah, bueno, ahí tienes otra. Are you nuts? You're going to kick me in the nuts? Hay muchos usos. Aquí hay triple troubles estoy viendo adelante. All right, the next one's peanuts. Peanuts, cacahuetes, which also means poca cosa. Wow, is it crazy? Or does everything here have another meaning? Bueno, no te di uno con eggs. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. No pongas todos tus huevos en una cesta. The next one, almond. Ahí ya me has pillado. Bueno, color almendra. We say almond skin, almond hair color, almond. I swore off almonds. To swear off es decir, nunca más. Juro que no las toco más. And it was because I OD'd. What? OD'd? Yeah, I overdosed. What? How can you overdose on almonds? I did. My father, where he's from a little village called El Marchal de Lubrin. And there are almonds there, figs, hablando de higos. And we were there with my grandma, and we were cracking almonds and, peeling. And, of course, I would throw one into the pile and one into my belly, right down the hatch. Decimos down the hatch, pa abajo. And I got sick for like 2 days. I didn't realize you could overdo it, pasarse tanto with almonds. The next one, avellana, hazelnut, que también hazel es un color. A ver cómo lo ponen aquí. Remember, guys, I use, on the show, I'm always using word reference. Hazelnut, avellana, de color avellana, hazel. So hazelnut in Spanish, that is, what did we just say? ¿Dónde está la página aquí? Avellana. I know it, but, there's a lot of vocabulary we're looking at. Marisco. These are some things that people are... Okay, pues vamos a decir esto. Quiero que me digas esto. Tengo alergia al marisco. Tengo alergia al marisco. How would you say that in English? The next one is trigo. We're going over some common ones now. Trigo is wheat. The next one, lactose intolerant. Creo que eso es bastante fácil, ¿no? Lactosa, same thing. Lactose intolerant. That means dairy products and you don't get along. Los productos lácteos, we call them dairy products, and you don't get along. I don't think I'm lactose intolerant. I've never been diagnosed as such. But I know that if I go too far with milk or, creamier things, dairy products, my stomach never likes it. So I take it easy on the dairy products. Hey, everybody's got to know their own thing. And celíaco, we say you're gluten intolerant. Okay, intolerante al gluten. I think that's pretty easy. But the good thing is I believe that more and more restaurants are aware of these different, no quiero decir alergias, porque vosotros me vais a decir, tengo alergia al marisco. Let's see if anybody knows it. We'll go on over here to our chat room. And ladies and gentlemen, Juan. Nice job, Juan. I'm allergic to seafood or shellfish. Es parecido. Seafood puede incluir, es más amplio el término. So seafood is a broader term. And shellfish is literalmente que tiene shell, que tiene una cáscara, like shrimp, things like that. Gamba. Is anybody else getting hungry right now? So I'm allergic to would be the structure. I'm allergic to shellfish. Okay. Do you know the joke? Yeah, I didn't tell you guys. I'm on a seafood diet. Well, the holidays are coming up. I want to make sure I'm in shape. So I decided to go on a seafood diet. We say to go on a diet. Ponerse en dietas, to go on a diet. Okay. And I'm going on a seafood diet. Yeah. I see food and I eat it. All right. So you can say I'm allergic to shellfish. You can say I have a shellfish allergy. Así lo que hacemos es usar alergia como sustantivo. Sino it's to be allergic to something. Creo que ese es el más fácil porque allí ya dices I'm allergic to y pones lo que sea, peanuts, specific. You can be really specific. All right. So if you have any allergies, you are allergic to something. All right. Let's take a look now at how we would ask for something or order something. Okay. Now, normally, why did I say both? Well, if I tell the waiter, excuse me, sir, pardon me, sir, I dropped my knife. I'm asking for another knife. Estoy pidiendo que me traiga otro cuchillo. But when I say, sir, we're ready to order, ¿eso nos tomas nota? We're ready to order now, sir. So, pedir la comida is to order. You don't say, we're going to ask for the food now, right? Pero sí que si pides, I'm gonna order food and drink, we order. De hecho, la frase, ¿estáis listos? Os tomo notas. Can I take your order? Are you guys ready to order? Right? And then you say, oh, we need another minute, please, right? Or do you have any suggestions, any recommendations? We're ready. Or see, if they're not paying attention, they're really busy. Sir, you lift your hand up a little bit and say, we're ready to order when you get a chance. Esa es wow, yo siempre enseño when you get a chance, cuando puedas. So you can say, can I have? May I have? Could I have? All three of those are very polite. May I have a spoon? Could I have the soup of the day? Could I have the pepperoni pizza? Hold the pepperoni, right? Sin, as we said before, hold, como sujétalo, no lo pongas, right? So there are a lot of different things. I mean, we can go through the whole thing, right? When you come up to the maitre d', the maitre d' is el matre. We say the maitre d'. That's the person that will seat you. Then you say, table for tanta gente. We need a high chair, please. A high chair es trona de niños, a high chair. Es interesante porque es high chair, pero se pronuncia high chair, todo junto. It's a high chair. And then the booster, es el aumento, that's the one you put on top over there. You got to know this stuff, especially if you have kids. Oh, and here's one that nobody teaches you, and I always like to teach it to my students to give you an advantage. Do you have a booth available? Is there a booth available? And the booths are they're the comfortable tables. So you have tables and then you have booths. The booths have these benches, ¿no? Son como los que son más privados. Hey, you never know. It can't hurt to ask. It can't hurt to ask. All right, so now you've ordered, you're waiting for the food, you got some appetizers on the way, you're having a drink, and you decide on some strawberry shortcake for dessert, and now you're stuffed. You are full. You can't eat anymore, and you have to pedir la cuenta. Or as you say, I love in Almeria, my friends say la dolorosa, the painful one. We don't say that. We do say, what's the damage? ¿Qué te debo? Right? ¿Cuáles son los daños? Right? What's the damage? Okay. So how do we ask for that? Now, you can always do the universal signal. And what is the universal signal? You throw up that signature in the air, right? You sign in the air. Haces firma. Remember, ojo aquí, he oído muchos alumnos confundir to sign, que es firmar, and signature, que es la firma. But let's say the guy's looking right at you. You don't have to do that. Oh, and by the way, you can say waiter or waitress, or you can say server. Y server vale para todos. El que te sirve. Right? Server. And it's not offensive or anything. In fact, oh, can you get our server when you get a chance, ¿ves? Sin querer me sale. Es que lo pones al final de when you get a chance. You can say when you get a chance or when you get the chance. Yo digo, when you get a chance, can I get another Coke when you get a chance? Yeah, in the States, you don't have to say Coca-Cola. If you say Coke, they'll know what you're talking about. Now, it's very different to say, can I get a Coke or can I get some Coke? Because the other one, depending on where you are, if you're at a club, in una discoteca, they might offer you a different product. So maybe it's better to be clear about that. You know what I always say? With ice, with a lemon, just in case. You don't want any miscommunications there, because then you never know. You never know what kind of trouble you can get into, especially in a restaurant. Ordering, you order the wrong thing. You're like, oh, man, this is expensive. I didn't want this. The steak is overcooked. Se pasaron con la coacción. By the way, if you want all this vocabulary, I've got it in my book, English Everywhere. It makes a great Christmas gift. English everywhere, there's a chapter on restaurants, and I go through all this. Well, we say, may I have the bill? May we have the check? May we have the bill? Either one of those is fine. Whenever you get a chance, cuando puedas. Then we say, I'm going to pay in cash or by card. Yeah, no estamos de acuerdo. So si lo haces en efectivo, en metálico, it's in cash. If not, it's by card. All right, guys, we have to take a quick commercial break. I don't know about you guys, but I have worked up quite an appetite talking about food and ordering at restaurants. But this is indispensable, imprescindible. Make sure you're following Vaughn and you'll get amazing posts just like this. We'll be right back, folks, so stick around. Hey, amigos, welcome back. Welcome back to the show with no name on Vaughn Radio. Come on in, folks. Come on in. I hope you are enjoying this weird week. It's a weird week, isn't it? Un poco raro. But that's okay. We're here. I think most of us are working this week. But that's all right. We love what we do. I know I do. I think you can tell. Creo que se nota. Don't forget to listen to my buddy Fitz right before this show every day. He is the master, the sensei. No doubt about it. Fitz. And as you know, it's not a secret. One of my favorite accents is the Irish accent. I don't know, it's music to my ears. I know a lot of people who say that they like the Irish accent. Plus, as you guys know, Fitz is very knowledgeable. He knows about a lot of different things. And folks, you can tune in to him and get some of that knowledge every day. Right before the show, the program is No Excuses. And folks, I'm telling you, when he started doing a radio show, I said, oh, wow. Now we've got like our master trainer giving away our secrets, dando nuestros secretos a todo el mundo. Oh, my God. So, folks, and I'm going to be honest with you, one of the greatest compliments, cumplidos, halazgos, that I get is from other teachers. When teachers write to me and they say, Alberto, we listen to your podcast and then we talk about it in my English class. Alberto, I use a lot of the expressions and pronunciation thing. That is so cool because one thing is inspiring your students that you better do that. Más te vale hacer eso. And another thing is inspiring your workmates, the people who share the same profession, the same calling, we say. Vocación, the same calling. Es como un llamamiento. You must do this. Well, I've always loved learning and I've always loved teaching. And I loved imitating, doing voices. And that's one of the reasons we do a section we call Say What, where we do just that. We listen to famous people, all different kinds of accents. We try and figure out what they're saying, but also, guys, feel free to imitate them as well. It's time for today's Say What? Say what? That's right, amigos. Say What soundbite only on Le Chauvis No Name. All right, amigos, let's take a look at what we've got today. I think it's going to be pretty easy, but it's intense. I'll tell you that right now. It's intense. Intenso. But I think it'll be easy to follow because I think these people speak very clearly. Well, there's only one person speaking, but it is, I'm giving you too much information already. It's a part of a scene. What I want you guys to do is listen very, very carefully and write down what you hear. Initially, I want you to give me your opinion, your feedback, your take on what you heard. And by the end of it, I want word for word what this person said. Here we go. This is the first listen of today's Say What soundbite.
Take some responsibility. I gave you exactly what you wanted. You'd still be stuck in that marriage without me.
What?
You can't accept it yet.
Oh, wow. I told you. I warned you. I forewarned you. Os avisé con antelación. I forewarned you. Os prevení that it was going to be pretty intense. All right. I'm interested in that accent there. Does that person sound like me when they're speaking? No, right? Not at all. I hope not. I don't sound like that, do I? I mean, I know how to imitate it, as I just told you. It's very important to learn how to imitate. You know, I've been imitating my whole life. And usually what I've realized is the people who imitate the most, or who, make the biggest effort to imitate and to replicate the sounds. It's hard because I'm trying to do a British accent and I'm trying to think as myself. I really got into the role. Me metí en el papel. All right, well, let me give it to you guys a second time, and then we can discuss what it's all about. That's what it's all about. Everybody ready? Grab those pens, grab your notebooks, and jot this down.
Take some responsibility. I gave you exactly what you wanted. You'd still be stuck in that marriage without me.
What?
You can't accept it yet.
All right, my amigos. One thing I think we'll all agree on there, it's not somebody from my neck of the woods. We've already said that person sounds nothing like me. They sound like they're pretty upset, disgustado, if not angry or infuriated, right? And it sounds like they have reached their limit. They're fed up, hartos. I say they, pero she, ya lo sabemos. When we don't know, we say they. Well, who called us? I didn't hear it, but they said something. The point is, when we use they, it means we don't know if it's a guy or a girl yet. So we just say they. Same thing with a dog, with an animal. We say it. Oh, it's a cute dog. And then, but if you know it, then you know the dog's name. Then you're not going to say, oh, it. Think about calling your dog it. Simon is he, right? So I'm not up. I don't understand all the gender things, guys. I get confused very, very quickly. And I don't think I can figure it out. A friend sent me something. He's on a dating site, una de estas aplicaciones de citas. And it asked him about his gender. And there were I think there were over 20 options. And he was joking with me, but he wasn't. He was like, which one do I choose? I'm like, I don't fucking know, man. I'm lost. I don't know what. I don't get it anymore. I don't understand anything. I don't, I've heard all the names, cis. I've heard them all. Right. I just don't. I can't keep up. It's hard enough for me to remember, simple things. But if I have to try and figure out 20, I fill something out and ask me 27 different things. One time it asked me, I forget what I was filling out. Estaba rellenando algo. I was filling out something on the internet, and it said, what gender are you? And there were a few options. I don't think there were 20. No como mi amigo. I was like, what? And there were many options. And then the last option was, I would rather not say. Preferiría no decirlo. And I thought about it. I'm like, well, what the fuck difference does it make? If I'm applying for car insurance, no seguro del coche, I think it's different. There are different prices on your age, on your sex. That's different, right? But if I'm just calling about cable service, or I'm, my phone company, that's none of your business. Why? I don't, who cares? It's like asking me what religion I am. That just give me the service I want, right? So, and I respect everybody. Whatever you can consider yourself a cat, I'll respect it. You tell me, Alberto. I like to lie on the sofa all day. I literally get down on all fours and I drink milk out of, a dish. I'm going to tell you, I'm like, you feel like a cat, man. You're a fucking cat. You're the king of the cats, the queen of the cats, whatever you want to be called. That's fine. That's great. That's one thing doesn't take away from the other. I respect everybody's right to feel or to be whatever they want. Right? Who am I to tell them, you're not this, you're not, none of my business. But I'm an old guy now. I'm a boomer. In fact, I notice that I don't understand anything. And I'm not a boomer. Boomer se dice la generación que era the baby boomers. La generación de mi madre realmente. She's a baby boomer. My generation is Generation X. You know why? Because we don't care. That's how they defined our generation. But we did care. The grunge, esa música. If you think about it, it was like, okay, we didn't care about our image, but it was about the substance. It was about, depth. If you remember Kurt Cobain, it wasn't about him with all the makeup and lipstick and pyrotechnics and all that jazz. No, this was more about, I think it was more about having fun. Well, what we do here on the show with no name. All right. I see a lot of people are saying British accent. Somebody is very upset. Oh, wait a second. I think we might have a winner over here. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for David. Whoa. That was 2 listens. It's impossible. How did you do that? Man, that was 2 listens. 2 listens, and you nailed it. Great job. Well, guys, I hope you will continue to participate. I hope you'll give it a shot. What David has proved is that this is definitely doable. Sin duda, asequible. All right, well, guys, we need to move on to today's Spelling Bee.
Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee.
That's right, my amigos. You know it is today's Spelling Bee. And as always, this is probably one of the toughest sections on the show, but I know that you guys will rise to the challenge. All right, let's see what we've got today. These are countries, okay? These are countries, and these countries all have something in common. Okay, but you can tell me they're all countries, but I think we know that already. All right, but what does that mean? There's something that implies, implica. that these should all begin with a capital letter. All right, are you guys ready? You know how it works. Round one, I am ruthless. ¿Cómo se dice ruthless? Es que vamos a aclarar estas dudas antes de empezar. Ruthless, despiadado, implacable, inflexible, relentless. So that was ruthless, relentless, implacable, incansable, incesante. I'm both. I'm ruthless and relentless. And so are you guys as well. I'm going to be ruthless and relentless. Excellent words there. Are you guys ready? This is round one of today's Spelling Bee. The first country is Somalia. The second one is South space Sudan. The next one is Syria. The next one is Yemen. The fifth one is Venezuela. And the last one is Afghanistan. Those are your 6 countries. Let's see if you guys can figure out what those countries are. Also, guys, a quick reminder, we've got our buddy Fitz, that's right. And I was just telling you about his program, No Excuses, and how he trained me and everybody else. But also just a reminder, he'll be hosting our next Vaughn Radio Trivia Night. That's on January 11th. That's coming up right after Christmas and our holiday. So January 11th, it'll be a really positive way to kick off the new year. And that'll be with Mr. Fitzgerald himself. It's at Roll Madrid, which is Calle Amaniel 23 Amaniel Street. Come on by. I'm definitely going. You know why? Because my team won the last time. And it wasn't planned. It wasn't rigged. Amañado. It wasn't rigged or fixed, because that we would never do that, A. And B, I never win anything. People are like, oh, the Vaughn guy. I'm like, I don't know about Fitz. I don't know about Guy. I don't know about this guy and the other one. But me, personally, I never fucking win anything. And it was a glorious moment there. And also, I won, which is great news, guys. There are prizes. If you win, everybody on your team gets a little coupon, right? A little voucher, un vale. De hecho, to vouch for somebody es poner la mano en el fuego. I can vouch for the trivia night. It's so much fun. And I can vouch for the fact that if you win, you'll get a voucher. And that voucher is for a free meal and a beer. So I got to go cash it in. To cash in, buena palabra ahí, canjearlo. I've got to cash it in. All right, let's see over here. Let's see if anybody knows today's Spelling Bee words. Going on over here to our virtual chat room. Give it up for Maria. Maria. You remind me of a West Side Story. Growing up in Spanish Harlem. Love that song. I'm sorry, I can't help it. No puedo evitar. Every time I say the name Maria, I have to do the Maria. See, I tried. I tried not to do it, and there you go. All right, let's go with round 2 of today's Spelling Bee. As you know, this round is going to be a lot easier. I want everybody to participate then. Here we go. The first company. No sé por qué lo hago siempre, eh? I know the difference between a company and a country, but a lot of times I mix the two up in my head. So I want to say country and I say company, or I want to say company and I want to say country. I don't know. Well, they kind of operate the same, right? Think about it. All right, let's look at these 6 countries. The first one is Somalia. The next one is South. Sudan. The next one is Syria. The fourth one is Yemen. The fifth one is Venezuela. UELA. And the last one is AFG HANISTAN. There we go. I see we've got a lot more people here coming on board. Great job, guys. Wonderful. Excellent, excellent job. Well, guys, happy International Anti-Corruption Day. Yeah. We don't say corruption, we say corruption. So if an enterprise, if a company or a country, ¿ves? Ambos pueden ser corruptos, are corrupt, there's a lot of corruption. ¿Ves? Siempre jugando con las palabras. So you're corrupt, adjetivo. Your country is full of corruption, sustantivo. Okay? And to corrupt somebody is also the verb, right? You corrupted your own country, tu propio país. So yes, as per, según, the UN, what does UN stand for? Well, UN stands for the United Nations, and that would be today's International Anti-Corruption Day. Now, let's take a look. What we did here is we took a look at the most corrupt countries in the world. I went to the bottom of the list here, and I got the six most corrupt countries in the world. Okay, now this is a list I have here according to, let me just make sure, because they have different things that they judge it on. But these are the Corruption Perceptions Index table. And the last time this table was updated, actualizado, was 2021. So it might be a little bit outdated now. But again, this is not my opinion. I got these from a list. So now that we're going to look at the most corrupt countries, which ones do you think are the least corrupt countries, according to, según, this list, this table? All right, well, the least corrupt country, okay? Oh, wait, there are three in first. No, we're going to go in order here because this is crazy. They're given three countries in the first spot, three in the fourth spot. No. We're going to go in order here. The least corrupt country, according to this list, is Denmark. The Danish, los daneses. Number 2, New Zealand. I wouldn't think that. Finland, that's believable. The Finnish people. Yeah, Finnish, lo vimos un día. Se dice igual que termina. Okay, Finnish. 4, Singapore. Yeah, that makes sense. Singapore is, they don't play around, They're pretty serious about crime and corruption there. Oh, and by the way, I've prepared an FYI episode. It'll be coming out in January, and it'll be on Singapore and with firsthand experience. The next one on the list, these are the least corrupt countries: Sweden and then Norway. So the Swedish and the Norwegian as well. And today we're going to look at the most corrupt countries. Again, not my opinion, so nobody get angry with me here. Number 1 was Somalia. Somalia. I mean, just thinking of Somalia, you think corruption. But also, if people don't have resources, if people don't have access to things, well, they turn to crime. So I imagine it's not as simple as this country is corrupt. Well, there's a reason it got so corrupt. People stopped caring. Money became more important than people. Corruption can get worse in any place, even in the first world. Because a lot of times we think about, corruption out there in the, with these warlords, estos señores o dioses de la guerra. But Somalia is number 1 on the list over here. And the official languages, Somali and Arabic. We say Arabic, and Somali are the people. South Sudan was next on our list. South Sudan, South, el sur, evidentemente. Sudan, is that you say that? Sudan, ahí mucho. Well, maybe they have a lot of sweatshops. Hey, a sweatshop. Do you know this one? Es una fábrica donde hay niños o explotación de trabajadores en general. A sweatshop. So Sudan, okay, never mind. The next one, Syria. Syria. Again, none of these surprise me too much, but it's a shame. It's a shame when you read about these countries. Syria. The next one is Yemen. Yemen. And you want me to be dead honest with you? You guys know we can be honest with each other here, right? If you asked me to point out these countries on a map, I don't know if I could do it, which is sad because you'd think, okay, man, you could at least know where things are. I mean, I've got a globe behind me. If you're watching the live stream, there's literally a globe behind me right now. But I can't point out too many places over there. Syria, Yemen, Venezuela. Oh, that one I can point out. I know where Venezuela. Hey, okay, no está tan mal. Afghanistan I can point out. I know some of them. I have to be honest, too. That's the area I know the least about. I'm more familiar with, obviously, the United States, North and South America. Not just the United States, the Americas in general. I know where Chile is, Argentina. But we studied the Americas a lot. We studied Europe. So my European geography is pretty decent. My geography of the Americas is decent. My geography of Asia wasn't too good until I went there. And then, when you go, sometimes, I mean, it's not sometimes, that's the way it works. When you travel somewhere, it forces you. I mean, not forces, no estás obligado en el sentido malo. It forces you to look it up and look into it. Look it up es buscarlo en internet, and look into it es investigarlo. So the first thing you do is you see where it's located, ubicado, where it's located on a map. Oh, and this is the name of the ocean. And you start, and there's a river and you start learning some of the geography, some of the topography. Then you start learning about the food and all that. I mean, I love that stuff. That's an adventure. And that's what learning should be as well. Learning should be an adventure. It should be a journey, not a destination. To use the words of Aerosmith, life's a journey, not a destination. So Venezuela was the fifth one on the list. And the last one on our list is Afghanistan. So, yeah, it's a shame. Hopefully, we can live in a time where people can earn a decent living and people can do things without being corrupt, without stealing public money and stuff like that, and looting resources, saqueando recursos. But, folks, we're not here to cry or to lament today. This is a party. This is the show with no name. And right now, we've got to go to our second commercial break, my amigos. We'll be right back with tons more, so stick around. Hey, amigos, welcome back. Welcome back to this, the third part of today's show with no name. And thank you to all of you for your participation today and every day. I can't believe this week, is anybody else totally out of whack? Desconcertado? I'm totally out of whack this week. I don't know what day it is. That's what happens when you put two holidays smack dab in the center of a week. We've had 3 Mondays and 3 Fridays this week. I'm not complaining. I enjoyed those days off. But why couldn't we just do Monday and Tuesday or, Friday and Thursday? I don't know. Just for the sake of productivity. All right. There's me complaining again. There's me whining, lloriqueando. Guys, welcome back. Welcome back to the third part of today's show with no name. I hope you're having a good time. I'm having a blast with you as always, but it's time for another challenge. It's time for today's homophones.
Homophones on the show with no name. It's homophones time, cause homophones rhyme. They sound the same on the show with no name. The show with no name. Homophones on the show with no name. Cause homophones time, cause homophones rhyme. They sound the same on the show with no name. The show with no name. The show with no name. The show with no name.
That's right, folks. That's right. It is homophones. But before we go on, I couldn't believe that I didn't mention two very important words when we talk about corruption. Chantaje. How do we say this? Chantaje. Que también lo decimos chantaje emocional también. Blackmail. Are you blackmailing me? Is this emotional blackmail? So there's a word that we should mention if we're talking about corruption. What about sobornos or sobornar? To bribe somebody, right? So bribes, blackmailing, these are all ways of corrupting a country or a company. See, in the end, they do have a lot in common. That's why I always mix them up. All right, let's take a look at today's homophones and see if you guys recognize these words and if you know if they sound exactly the same or not. The first one is el verbo pesar. También es sopesar. Si decimos, vamos a sopesar las opciones. Las? Oh, man. See? And then you complain about English. We don't have gender, not in the language. You know, it's unisex. So, first one, pesar, sopesar. Okay? And the second word, you might know this word if you guys are into health food or if you work out. If you're health nuts, vimos la palabra nut, también es un loco por la salud, a health nut, for example. I'm an aviation nut. Otra forma de decir un fan, pero friki total, right? The second word is the liquid part of the milk, okay? Here it says suero de leche, okay? So if you had to say, tenemos que pesar el suero de leche, would the word pesar and would the word suero de leche sound exactly the same? Let's take a look. We'll see what you guys think. Let me just give you today's Say What soundbite for the third time. As I said, we already have a winner, but I hope you guys will at least give it a shot. I think everybody can get it today. So here it is. This is the third listen of today's Say What soundbite.
Take some responsibility. I gave you exactly what you wanted. You'd still be stuck in that marriage without me.
What?
You can't accept it yet.
All right. There you go, folks. You're going to hear that one more time a little bit later on in today's show, in the fourth part of today's show. But now we need to look at the section homophones. I see we've got a lot of people participating. Some of you are saying yay. In fact, the one I'm seeing most people, without maybe one or two exceptions here, everybody's saying that these are homophones. Interesting. All right, well, I think we're going to solve this the way we always do this, right? We don't need to beat around the bush. No hay que andar por las ramas. Bueno, si vamos a enseñar expresiones, sí. We can beat around the bush if you're going to learn an expression from it. But I'll get right to the point. Voy a ir al grano. The first word is way. Way. Okay, so how would you say the question? Podéis ponerlo en los comentarios o decirlo en voz alta. You can say it aloud. ¿Cuánto pesas? How much do you weigh? How much do you weigh? Okay, you can say what's your weight, but it's much more common to say how much do you weigh? So ahí podemos ver que weigh es pesar, sopesar. I said we need to weigh the options. Okay, right now I'm weighing my options. Weight, peso, sustantivo. Weigh, pesar, sopesar. Okay, I've heard students mix it up. It's like true and truth. True es adjetivo. The truth es la verdad, sustantivo. Breathe and breath. Breathe is respirar, verbo. Breath is sustantivo. So these are words that sometimes mix people up. Weigh and weight, those are definitely. Oh, and weight, ambos son homófonos. Well, see, I just let the cat right out of the bag. So, folks, yes, they sound the same. So let's see if you know. Weight, ¿a qué palabra suena? Peso, espera. Wait, I can't tell you my weight. Espera, no te puedo decir mi peso. So you got a homophone right there, a bonus homophone. So here's another question. We said that the word pesar, sopesar, and suero de leche, which is whey, W-H-E-Y, se escribe esta. Seguro que lo has visto. I've seen it a lot of times when people buy these protein shakes, you know, these powdered shakes that you have at the gym. I don't really know. And it says whey protein, no proteína de suero. Okay. I don't know much about it, but it sounds exactly the same, right? In that store, they weigh the whey and then they charge you by the pound. No, pesan el suero de leche y te cobran por libra. So now, next question here. Is there a third word that sounds like that? Pesar, sopesar, suero de leche. What would be that third one? There is a third one. I don't know. It's an easy one. They say the neon lights are bright on Broadway. Where there's a will, there's a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. ¿Qué significa? Querer es poder. So great job to everybody who said that these words are homophones. They are indeed homophones. All right, but we've got a place to go. We've got a date. Yeah, appointment is la reservamos para formal. We're going to have some fun, guys. We've got a date today, and we are going to the movies. Name that movie. That's right, amigos. It's Name That Movie, only on the show with no name. And as always, this is where we give you a scene from a movie, and we see if you guys know the movie. This movie's awesome. I freaking love this movie. I've seen it, I'd say about five times or so. And that's only because my wife was like, all right, enough. We've seen this enough times. But I love it. It's got an all-star cast, un reparto de primera, an all-star cast. And I'm not going to tell you who's in the cast yet. Let's take a look at the trailer first, the synopsis, the summary, okay? The storyline. When his peaceful life is threatened by a high-tech assassin, former Black Ops agent Frank Moses reassembles his old team in a last-ditch effort to survive and uncover his assailants. Wow. There's a lot of good vocabulary in there, huh? So, when his peaceful life, su vida tranquila, pacífica, sin problemas, when his peaceful life is threatened, vamos a pronunciar esta palabra, to threaten, amenazar. Don't threaten me. Nosotros nos comemos la T, los americanos, el glottal. Don't threaten. But you can say threaten. And una amenaza is a threat. Is that a threat or a promise? Don't threaten me. When his peaceful life is threatened by a high-tech assassin, un asesino que está en la vanguardia, que, this guy's high-tech, sabe de tecnología. Former Black Ops. And Black Ops usually means these darker forces in a country that do the dirty work. Usually they're, working with one of the alphabet agencies, as we call them. So he was a former Black Ops agent. Y ojo con esta palabra, porque mucha gente dice agent. Lo he oído mil veces. Agency, agent. No seas una de estas personas. Decimos agent or agency. So former Black Ops agent Frank Moses. You recognize the name Moses? Moisés, the biblical name. Moisés. We say Moses. And he split the seas, right? Wasn't he the one that split the seas? Partió el mar, I believe. And also, was he the 10 Commandments? Los 10 Mandamientos. Forgive my biblical knowledge here. We already saw that I don't have too much geographical knowledge. Well, biblical either. But movies, music, nobody beats me. A mí nadie me gana. So this agent, Frank Moses, reassembles. So to assemble es juntar, montar. To reassemble, pues es hacerlo de nuevo, reunir his old team in a last-ditch effort. Me encanta esta palabra. So a ditch es una zanja, I think you say. A ditch is like a hole at the side of the road. No, al lado de la carretera, ditch, un agujero. But a last-ditch effort or a last-ditch attempt significa último recurso. Okay, your final desperate attempt. This is a last-ditch effort here. We're going to see if it works. If it doesn't work, there's nothing else we can do. It says here, manotazo de ahogado. I've never heard that. Is that true? Or see, this is why it's good to have a teacher. Porque si yo voy por la calle diciendo manotazo de ahogado y la gente dice, aquí no se usa eso. No sería mucho más común decir último recurso. Right? This is my last resort. También se dice. The last resort. Último recurso. Que es interesante. We're going to see if we can reserve at this resort, but this is our last resort. Vamos a ver si podemos reservar en este resort, todo inclusivo, ¿no? But it's our last resort. Es una canción, I don't know if you know the band Papa Roach. Papa Roach. This is my last resort. Suffocation. No breathing. Don't give a fuck. Oh, man, great song. So last resort, a last-ditch effort. And to survive, sobrevivir, and uncover his assailants. An assailant, mira, no sé esta palabra en español. An assailant, asaltante. Pero creo que decís más agresor. Another way we can say this in English is our attacker. If somebody attacks you, they are an attacker or assailant. And ladies and gentlemen, we've got a winner. Please give it up for Carmen. Oops, I gave you the wrong sound effect. She's like, I'm not going to participate. Oh, man. All right, let's take a look. The movie is called Red. Red, that's right. And red, which stands for retired and extremely dangerous. Yeah. And what a cast, man. What a cast. Bruce Willis, or as my friends in Almeria call him, Bru Willy. Bruce Willis, Morgan Freeman. Who else is in? John Malkovich. Hello. I mean, we're talking about a serious cast. Un reparto de primera. And again, the movie is called Red. It came out in the year 2010. And John Malkovich, when he read, very talented actor, very gifted, dos formas de decir, con mucho talento. And when John Malkovich read the first 40 pages of the script, he liked it. But he asked his agent why he was up for the role of Frank. Now, to be up for a role is estar considerado por un papel. And his agent said, dude, you're reading the wrong lines. You're up for the role of Marvin. So it was funny. At first, he was like, I don't get, why they see me in this role? And his agent was like, no, okay, you're a great actor, a lot of attention to detail, but you're reading the wrong lines. And John Malkovich, let me explain something. There aren't many people, many actors who have a movie named after them. ¿Conocéis la película? Being John Malkovich. That's a great movie. Oh, man. Well, they were filming the movie in Toronto. In fact, a lot of films are shot or filmed in Toronto. And the police department, we normally don't say it with plural, the police's, unless we're saying it's the police's business. It's not mine. Entonces es posesivo. Pero normalmente we say the police. en general. It's plural sin ese, really. So the police received several phone calls about gunfire, disparos, from local residents. And they thought that these shots that were really fake shots, they were blanks, as we say, were real. So the cops were called several times. In Bulgaria, I love when they change the movie titles. You love doing that here in Spain. Well, in Bulgaria, it was distributed as Bezni Strashni Pensi. Forgive my pronunciation, which means furious, frightful pensioners. I like it. Porque red, claro, retired, extremely dangerous, ese título no funciona, right? A no ser que retirado, extremadamente, maybe you could make one in Spanish, but they changed it to BSP, Besni Strashni Pensi, which is furious, frightful, o sea, enrabiados, furious, frightful, con miedo, pensioners, pensionistas. But also, there was a double meaning because BSP is also the abbreviation for the Bulgarian Socialist Party, the BSP, and their color is red. And their voters, according to the information I have, are mainly elderly, retired voters, just like these guys in the movie. So Bulgaria, nice job on the translation there. That was good. You know? Well, it just goes to show you translation is not just copy and paste. It requires a lot of thinking, but how do we make that make sense? And as we know, you can't just translate jokes easily. It doesn't work like that, you know? Especially puns, like a lot of the jokes we look at here in our Your Joking section. But it's not time for Your Joking right now. It's time to take a look at the scene from this movie. If you haven't seen the movie, honestly, awesome cast and funny movie, you know. Henry, the records keeper. Now, if you're a records keeper, it is la persona que guarda los libros de contabilidad. You keep the records. You know who's spending what. You know the expenditures, right? You know what's going on. So Henry, the records keeper, says, Frank Moses was one of the most effective black op agents we've ever had. He retired drug lords. We looked at that word before. I think we said warlords. So a warlord is estos guerreros en estos países. And a drug lord would be like Escobar, right? Pablo Escobar. So he retired drug lords, terrorists, terroristas, right? Hell, he toppled governments. And to topple es tirar. A ver la palabra que ponen aquí ellos. To topple a government, derrumbar, venirse abajo, pero derrocar. Ahí está. Derribar, derrocar. They topple. But a lot of times when they topple a government, they topple the statues too. Las estatuas. It's very famous images in Iraq, I believe, of them tossing, or not tossing es lanzando, toppling statues. Very specific word. So he retired, jubiló a drug lords. Okay. Now, a drug lord usually implies you're moving weight. Hablando de peso, la palabra que vimos antes. A drug dealer es pues uno que lo pasa en la esquina. That would be a drug dealer, camello. But a drug lord, you're talking about somebody who usually, I'm thinking again, Pablo Escobar, right? He goes, hell, he toppled governments. He says, yeah, he was truly gifted. We just looked at that word, gifted, talking about John Malkovich. Con mucho talento. Tiene un don. You have a gift, decimos. The gift of gab. Eso es lo que me dicen a mí. El pico de oro. You have the gift of gab. Well, it's my job to talk, and not just talk, to teach while I talk and explain and, make sure you guys are getting and following along and you're entertained. That's why we call this edutainment. And then William Cooper says, why was he retired? ¿Y por qué le jubilaron? Right? And Henry says, he got old. Envejeció. He goes, then some thumbsucker, I love this word, a thumb sucker. Let's see how they translate. I mean, literalmente, your thumb es tu pulgar. And a thumb sucker, pues es un bebé, un llorón, maybe. Let's see how they translate. Thumb sucker. No lo tienen aquí. A thumb. A ver, let's try and put it as one word altogether. Thumb sucker. Okay. You know what? I'm going to teach you something. This is a great thing to do. Word reference doesn't have everything. They're good. Word reference is a great resource, right? It's great. I leave it open all the time. But let's say you come across a word you don't know. Now, I know what a thumb sucker is. Es un bebé, un llorón. But let's say you're reading or you're watching the movie. You're watching Red and you're like, thumb sucker? Okay, well, I think I can figure it out, but I'm not sure. I want to check. Just go to Google and put thumb sucker meaning. Y si no lo deletreas bien, pues no te lo va a buscar. Thumb sucker. Okay. Thumb sucker. An infant or young child that habitually sucks their thumb. Okay, so a thumb sucker. O sea, estos chavales, estos bebés. Then some thumb sucker came along and tagged him, le etiquetó. That's a word we use a lot these days in social media, right? To tag. Oh, and speaking of, if you guys are listening to the show, or if you're listening to FYI, or you're using any of our materials, tag us on social media. Danos, menciónanos, and I'll share it with the other students, as I always do, in hopes to inspire them and get them excited about learning English. And then William Cooper says, red? Rojo? And Henry, the records keeper, says, yeah, red. R-E-D. Retired. Extremely dangerous. And again, if you haven't seen the movie, really, really funny movie. Quick reminder, red is a homophone for what? Okay, el color rojo es un homófono. ¿Cuál es la otra palabra que suena como eso? Do you know? Did you say leí y leído? That's right. Aunque se escriban igual, se pronuncian red. So always remember this sentence. I tell my students, I think it's the easiest way to remember it. He read a red book. Él leyó un libro rojo. He read a red book. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, yeah, but how do I know? How do I know which one it is? I'm telling you, if you read the sentence, and you'll know instantly. You'll be like, he read. El momento que ves he con read, sabes que no es presente. ¿Por qué? Why is it not present? If I look at a sentence right now and it says he y luego la palabra R-E-A-D, que ya hemos dicho, puede ser read, read, or read, porque no hemos cambiado ahí. Hemos sido un poco vagos, I have to admit. But how would you know? The S. He reads. Entonces, esto, as you say, por cojones. It has to be él leyó, right? We always know, believe me, there's something in your head that tells you when you're reading it, oh, esto tiene que ser lo otro, right? So read, read, read. We've been looking at some irregular verbs today. I'm telling you. Well, remember before I told you that if you know how to say read, then you know how to say so many other words? Well, repasar algo. Read it over. Léelo de nuevo. Read it over. Don't read into it. No lees más allá de lo que hay. Alberto, what did you mean when you said that? ¿Qué quisiste decir con eso? Y ahí yo te digo, man, I didn't mean anything. No quise decir nada. I think you read into it. Creo que, I don't know how you would say that. Pensaste que decía mucho, le diste mucho más sentido o profundidad de lo que yo intencioné. Vamos a ver, vamos a buscarlo here. To read into something. Read into it. Read into. To read into, inferir algo a partir de, leer entre líneas. To read into something. Guys, we've got to go to, I can't believe it, our third and final commercial break. We'll be back with the fourth and final part of today's show. So stick around. Alrighty, amigos, welcome back. Welcome back to the show with no name on Fawn Radio, of course. Where did you think we were? Fawn Radio, baby. Oh, yeah. Hope you guys are having fun. And I hope you're going to tune in to Jules Linares and her program, Let's Get Random, right after this show. High energy, tons of fun, real English. And she's got a great personality. I barely know her. Apenas le conozco. But you can tell. Se nota. You can tell. I trust my gut. Me fío de mi instinto. I know we've got an amazing team here at Vaughn Radio. I'm absolutely and totally proud of each and every one of my coworkers. I hate that word. My friends, my colleagues, hasta es más formal. My coworkers, my friends, because as I told you the other day, Vaughn Radio has grown. So thank you, and thank you, because you are our spokespeople. Vosotros sois nuestros portavoces. You are our spokespeople. The proof is you guys that you can learn English. You can have fun learning English, and it doesn't have to be this asignatura pendiente that everybody says, you know, this thing that everybody has pending. Not anymore. I've seen that in the 18, almost 20 years now that I've been teaching. I've seen a drastic change in the attitude, in the way we approach English here in Spain. And I'd like to think that Vaughn Radio has something to do with that. All right, guys, it's time for another game, another challenge. It's Double Trouble. Double Trouble, baby. Yeah, you know what time it is. Give it up. Double trouble. I said double trouble. Double trouble. I said double trouble. That's right, amigos. It's Double Trouble, only on the show with no name. And I think this is a really easy one. So I want everybody to participate on today's Double Trouble. With the holidays approaching, se está acercando la Navidad. In fact, I think we even got some Christmas bells here. Do we have some Christmas bells to get into the holiday spirit? Of course we do. We've even got some horses, right, to help us. Actually, horses don't pull Santa's sleigh, although some sleighs are pulled by horses. No, reindeer. Why? Because they have reins. Get out of here. Well, you got to grab the reins. You got to take the reins. Coger las riendas. All right, here's today's Double Trouble. I expect tons of participation because I think this one's going to be a breeze. I think it's going to be easy peasy. Estamos de camino, pero hay un camión en medio. That's not a good thing, is it? Oh, man. Estamos de camino, pero hay un camión en medio. And the thing about this is we're looking at a common mistake in here. We're looking at a mistake I've heard, again, probably hundreds of times now. So I want to make sure, A, that you know the difference between them and you don't make that mistake. And there is no B. Me gusta decir A and B, but there was no B. It's just A. So, estamos de camino, pero hay un camión en medio. If you'd like to participate, you can do it in our virtual classroom. You can also do it, as I said, grab a piece of paper, write it down, or say it in your head if you can remember it, and you can see if you got it right. But also, we've got to listen to today's Say What soundbite, my amigos. This is the fourth and final listen. We've already gotten some people who have figured it out. Great job. Here's your last chance.
Take some responsibility. I gave you exactly what you wanted. You'd still be stuck in that marriage without me. What? You can't accept it yet.
Hey, There you go, folks. It's obviously a very British accent. It's also quite passionate, right? Passional, you say? We say passionate. Just be careful. We don't say passionate. We say passionate, right? Passionate. So that ATE sounds like the word it in the end, right? Passionate. All right, let's take a look over here at today's double trouble. I hope you didn't have too much trouble with it, even though that's the title. Okay, the first part, we are, or we're, always contract it. If you contract it, it's much more natural speech. We're on the way. We're on the way, or we're on our way, right? You can say either one. They're both correct. We're on the way or on our way. Just remember, if you say he, then you'd say he is on his way. She is on her way. So you always want to make sure that the possessives line up with the subject. That's important. So since we said we said we're, that's how it sounds when we contracted, we're on our way. Very important, that preposition there. Why? Because if you change it to in, then you're saying the second part of the sentence. And again, this is a mistake I have heard time and time again. I've had students say, I'm in the way. And I said to my students, no, I don't think you're in the way. You're fine right there where you are. It's not too normal to say we're in the middle. I know in Spanish you say, estoy en medio. We would say in the way. So we're on our way, but there's a truck in the way. And I guess that reminds me of a highway, right? Our British friends don't call it a highway. What do they call it? Do you know? Let's test your British knowledge here. A motorway, but you got to pronounce it like them as well. If you say it like an American, we say highway. Again, I think obviously in British English, there are a lot of places where we don't agree. But when it comes to driving and the cars and circulating on the road, we don't agree on absolutely anything. So if you want to check it out, I don't remember which book it was. It was either This Book is the Milk or This Book is the Milk 2. There's a pit stop section. Oh, no, I think maybe it's in English on the Go. Now I'm confused. Well, either way, there's a section. Maybe I'll share it with you guys on social media. I have to find it. I'll go through the document and see if I can find it. But I have something on social media where you guys can look at, well, not in social media, one of my books, but I'll put it on social media where you can look at the car. And I use like just little arrows pointing to the different parts and what they're called in British English and American English. And it's very visual too. In fact, let me jot it down. Déjame apuntarlo, because if I don't jot things down, I'll definitely forget them. All right, so it seemed pretty easy. We're on our way, but there's a truck in the way. Write them down. Come up with your own examples. That always helps as well. If you come up with your own examples, then you'll know how you're going to use it. As we say here, you can personalize the language, make it your own. I mean, what are you learning it for? You're learning it to use somebody else's sentences or your own. So I can't stress the importance of really, really finding where and when will I use this, and then trying to put it into practice, as always, aloud. All right, guys, it's time for Your Joking.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, what did the guy say when he walked into the bar? Ouch. Ouch. You get it? Ouch. He walked into the bar.
You're joking. All right, folks, you're joking. You're joking. This is where we take a look at some jokes and we see if you guys get these jokes. I'll warn you now, a disclaimer, they're not very funny. Okay, but I do what I can. I usually do what I can. All right. And sometimes, I got to say lately, I've been coming up with the jokes on my own. Like sometimes I'm like, okay, I want to joke about motorcycles. And then I try and think of puns. So I would say the last couple shows, I've been trying to come up with my own jokes. So if you don't like them, I'm going to take it really personal. No, not really. The important thing here is that you learn English. And if you learn English from these jokes, that's more important than actually chuckling or laughing. All right. What kind of building weighs the least? This is an easy one. What kind of building weighs the least. Okay. What kind of building weighs the least? Easy one. I'm giving you a second because I think you can even figure this one out if you think about it. The correct answer is a lighthouse. No. A lighthouse. I know you know this one. You say ligero too. Coca-Cola Light. We don't call it Coca-Cola Light. We call it Diet Coke. That's interesting. You call it light. We don't. We say de dieta, which is kind of misleading, no? Es un poco engañoso. If you're on a diet, I don't know if soft drinks are part of a healthy diet. All right. So do you guys get it? A lighthouse. Also a lighthouse es un faro. So una casa ligera, a lighthouse. Oh man, I love these building jokes. I think I really nailed it. Well, what do you do when I tell jokes? What do you do? Well, I don't know about you, but I beam. Did you get the other joke? To nail. Nail is clavar, but also a nail. You have the same joke in Spanish. But what about the other one I just said? An I beam, I said. I don't know about you guys, but when I learn English, I beam. When I teach English, I beam. Where's the joke there? Esta me lo acabo de inventar. I just made this one up. I beam. All right. Well, an I beam is estas vigas que parecen una I. Think about it. Where they're used in construction, an I beam. But also, a beam of light is un rayo de luz. But also, if a person beams, it means they're smiling and they have a huge smile on their face. So you can say, I'm smiling right now, or I am beaming. Reluzco, una sonrisa que reluce. So do you get it now? I don't know about you guys, but when I'm teaching English, I beam. All right, not funny. Guys, these jokes are all under construction. All right, I'll stop. I'll just tell you the difference, another British-American difference. They call it a diversion, diversión, which is funny because when you see it on a sign, diversión por aquí, what we call it is a detour. So in the United States, it's called a detour. In British English, they call it a diversion. So I think we're going to have some more diversion here on the show today. I think it's time for today's famous birthday trivia.
Birthdays for you. Birthdays for me. Birthdays for everyone on the show with no name. Birthdays for him. Birthdays for her. Birthdays for everyone on the show with no name.
That's right, amigos. It's famous birthdays only on the show with no name. And I can't believe it. We've got a little over 10 minutes left, so let's put the pedal to the metal. The first birthday boy was born in 1958. He was born in Australia, so that would make him Australian. Another way we say Australia is Oz, or the land down under. Si conocéis la canción de Men at Work, said I come from the land down under. Hey, Men at Work, trabajando. Oh, interesting. See, we just went back to construction, and I didn't mean to. So let's continue here. This guy was in a group called Crowded House. Now, crowded, do you know this word? Well, a crowd is una multitud. And if something is crowded, it means not too many people fit. There are a lot of people there, right? The center of Madrid around Christmas, that is crowded. There's a lot of hustle and bustle, ajetreo. So yeah, they were in the group Crowded House that formed in Melbourne. Interesting thing, speaking of my book, English on the Go, I was calling it Melbourne my whole life. And according to Tosh Pasqua, who lived there, she tells me it's Melbourne. Live and learn. Live and learn. Cada día se aprende algo. And in 1985, they have some really cool songs. One of them is, hey now, don't dream it so. I remember this song. It reminds me of the 80s, of course. 1987. Also, Something So Strong as well. And then in 1996, they said that they were going to disband. It's a good word, to disband. They played a couple farewell shows. Farewell is despedida, adios. It was called Farewell to the World. There were some concerts that they did in Melbourne and Sydney. And then in 2005, one of the members committed suicide at the age of 46. So pretty tragic. But they had a string es como una serie a string of number one hits. Speaking of number one, this guy is an ace, un as. He is one of the number one actors alive, IMO. In my opinion, he's received Academy Award nominations for his performances in Places in the Heart. I haven't seen that one. 1984. Also in 1993, he got another nomination for Line of Fire. That was in 1993, as I just said. But he's been in so many movies, such as Empire of the Sun, Dangerous Liaisons, Of Mice and Men, Mulholland Falls, Con Air, Being John Malkovich. Do you think you know who it is yet? He was also in the movie Red, which was today's Name That Movie. Burn After Reading. Oh, man, that's a great movie. Makes me want to see it. Juno. He produced Juno, Ghost World, and so many other movies. This guy is probably one of the most talented living actors alive. And so is the third person, actor or actress. She is an English actress that was born today in 1934. She made her professional debut in 1957 at the Old Vic Company. It's a very famous theater company in London, mate. It's in London, where she performed Shakespearean plays such as Ophelia in Hamlet, Juliet in Romeo and Juliet, Lady Macbeth in Macbeth. And she is just a tremendous actress. You probably recognize her because she was in Shakespeare in Love. She played Queen Elizabeth I. She won the Academy Award for that performance. But she's also been nominated for Mrs. Brown, Chocolat, Iris, Notes on a Scandal, Philomena, and Mrs. Henderson Presents. That is, if you were counting, 7 Academy Award nominations. And she's won all kinds of awards as well. BAFTA awards, National Theater Company. I mean, you name it, she is one of the most talented actresses. So today we got 2 superstar actors who were born and 1 musician who, okay, I wouldn't say he's a superstar, but in the 80s, he definitely was. But those songs that they created, they'll live on forever. They'll stand the test of time. Perdurarán. All right, let's see if you guys know who today's famous birthdays are. Number 1, Nick Seymour. Nick Seymour from Crowded House. Number 2, John Malkovich. That's right. I gave it away when I said Being John Malkovich. Well, it wasn't that obvious. If you knew it, you knew it. And last but not least, Dame Judi Dench. Dama, we say Dame Judi Dench. All right, and let's take a look. This is Judi Dench in a scene with Kate Blanchett. You want to talk about 2 powerhouses. Oh, my God. Kate Blanchett and Judi Dench, and it's called Notes on a Scandal. And this was one of her performances that she was nominated for. It's a very intense scene. I mean, you guys are hearing it, but remember, when I prepare it, I'm watching the video, and it was, I was just like glued, pegado. I was glued to the screen. And she says, Judi Dench's character says, take some responsibility. Coge alguna responsabilidad. I gave you exactly what you wanted. Te di exactamente lo que querías. And then she says, you'd be stuck. Great word. We were talking about traffic before, being the truck being in the way. To be stuck in traffic, right? We use it all the time. You could say, I'm in traffic, or I'm stuck in traffic. So you'd still be stuck, atascado, in that marriage without me. Si no fuera por mí, she's basically saying, I saved you. Yo te salvé. I hate it when people say that, though. You know, when somebody's like, if it weren't for me, si no fuera por mí también, I'm like, okay, I guess life would not be possible without you, right? It's true. Our friends do help us, but you don't want to be putting yourself on a pedestal. I always say it with teaching. You know, people can say, Alberto, you're the best teacher. Yeah, but you got to say it, not me. It shouldn't come from my mouth. So then she says, what? She's obviously in shock. She's flabbergasted, una de mis palabras favoritas. And she says, you can't accept it yet. Tú no lo puedes aceptar. Let's hear the one and only Dame Judi Dench.
Take some responsibility. I gave you exactly what you wanted. You'd still be stuck in that marriage without me.
What?
You can't accept it yet.
All right, folks. And now it's time for our final section. Name that lyric.
Hi, hello, Alberto. I think the song is. No? Sorry, bye.
Name that lyric. Name that lyric. Name that lyric. Name that lyric. Only on the show with no name. The show with no name. The show with no name. Name that lyric. Only on the show with no name. The show with no name. The show with no name. It's name that lyric. Only on the show with no name.
That's right, amigos. It's Name That Lyric, and thus the final section. A quick round of applause for all of you once again. Seriously. Every day. And that's why you guys are seeing results. That's why you're making progress, because you're putting in the time and the effort that it takes to be good at absolutely anything. So I really believe this. You guys, and I don't mean this for everybody in the world, I mean my students, you guys can do anything you put your mind to. Se puede decir to put your mind to or to set your mind to. Lo que tú te empeñas en. I believe it. I honestly believe that. That said, I hope you have an awesome weekend. I hope you practice some English, of course, you know, and practicing English doesn't mean you have to pull out a grammar book, but you can also just watch a series, jot down some, listen to a podcast, listen to one of our Vaughn podcasts, catch up. Ponte al día. Yes, that's a homophone. Catch up. También es como si de catch up. There's a famous joke in Pulp Fiction that they didn't translate. Remember we said before how difficult it is to translate jokes? Well, they just skipped it. Lo saltaron. Watch Pulp Fiction. There you go. Try and watch some of these movies. Here's what I can recommend. If you want to catch movies with a lot of puns, Mel Brooks. Mel Brooks. Also, the Zucker brothers. So Airplane, Los Como Puedas, Aterriza Como Puedas, Jovencito. I mean, these movies, they literally have like a visual gag every couple minutes, or some kind of pun, some kind of play on words every couple minutes. So whatever it is, even if it's listening to an album, you know, looking at the lyrics, obviously, while you listen to it, that's never been easier. When I was a kid and I started learning with Rafael, that's right, Rafael, the con PH, I remember I had to write down the lyrics. I didn't know the lyrics. There was no place I could have them. Not every group would put their lyrics on their albums, right? So when they did, I really appreciated that. And so I had to write them down. So all this say what soundbite stuff, all this name that lyric stuff, I've done it. That's how I learned Spanish. And even though I make some mistakes in Spanish, and we all do, we make mistakes in our own language, I think the important thing is I feel comfortable speaking the language. And I think that's something that you guys have managed to do. You're going to learn more or less, right? Some days you'll be, on fire. Other days you're like, I can't get anything today. But just know that you're working in the right direction. Keep up the great work. This is today's Name That Lyric. I'll tell you it's Crowded House. Don't dream it's over. Hey now, hey now. They say there's a freedom within. Hay una libertad dentro. There's a freedom without. ¿Qué significa? Without no es por fuera, es sin. Este es un juego de palabras. So there's a freedom within. Dentro. Eso sí que es dentro. Pero without no significa fuera, sino sin ti, lo que viene a decir. A deluge, he says. Inundación is the next in the next sentence. Try to catch the deluge in a paper cup. Does it sound familiar? Deluvio. I love it. There's a battle ahead. Hay una batalla más adelante. Well, you know what? I think we're just going to sing the song. You just Google the lyrics. The song is called Don't Dream It's Over, and the group is called Crowded House. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. It's always a pleasure to spend time with you. Keep up the wonderful work. There's a freedom within. There's a freedom within. If you can hit that note, do it. I don't know if I can. Gotta love that 80s sound. Beautiful. Have a good one, folks. Thank you so much. Ciao.